So we're now going to take a look at the second part of section 1.1. We already filled in the notes on page 1 in your book of templates of notes, but now we're going to go on to page 2 and finish up those notes in section 1.1. So I'm on that page that's titled Evaluating Expressions. And the first problem we're going to look at is 42 divided by x. And my first question for you is, can you do this problem? And actually, you probably should realize, no, you can't do this problem. You can't do this problem unless I tell you what. We can't do this unless I tell you what x stands for. X is a variable which is going to stand for some particular letter. If I tell you, though, we're looking at this problem if x equals 6, well, then we can go do things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to plug the 6 in where the x is. Really just replace the x with a 6. And I'm going to get 42 divided by 6. Well, that's not a big deal. You go finish that off. 42 divided by 6, use the calculator if you need to, but that should give you 7. And we've evaluated our first expression. And I do expect this is stuff that you've seen before. Let's take a look at 3a plus 4b if a equals 3 and b equals 2. 3a plus 4b if I tell you a equals 3 and b equals 2. And I guess my first question for you is, what does 3a mean? A 3 right next to an a. Well, if you write two things right next to each other, it means multiply. So in this case, it's going to mean 3 times a. And if it helps you, we can put a little dot in between those things. But in general, if we write a number next to a letter or two letters next to each other, it means multiply. Well, I'm going to go and plug in 3 where my a is and 2 where my b is. So I'm going to get 3 times 3 plus 4 times 2. So this is a little more involved than the last one, and now we need to start following our order of operations. Well, if we're going to follow our order of operations, what's the next step in this problem? Order of operations says parentheses, there are no parentheses. So I'm going to go do my multiplication and division in order from left to right. Looks like that first multiplication problem I see is 3 times 3. So I'm going to go do that, which of course is what? Hopefully you said 9. I'm going to say 9 plus 4 times 2. Okay, and 4 times 2 is what? Hopefully you're saying 8. 9 plus 8, and we're going to end this, and the final answer is 17. We're going to get 17 over there. Okay, next one. Let's take a look at this. xz divided by y minus x. If I tell you that x equals 4, y equals 8, and z equals 9. Let's see what we can do here. xz divided by y minus x, if x equals 4, y equals 8, z minus 9. First question for you. What does xz really mean? Just like what I said in the previous problem where there was a number right next to a letter, if I have two letters next to each other, it really means x times z. So I'm going to go and I'm going to plug in my numbers. I am not going to say that xz is 49. Doesn't work like that. I'm going to say xz is 4 times 9 divided by 8 minus 4. Okay, so what's the next step going to be? What do I need to do next? Well, order of operations says do what's in the parentheses. 8 minus 4 gives us 4. So I've got 4 times 9 divided by 4. Okay, well, So now what? What's the next step? Should I multiply or should I divide? Order of operations says multiplication and division in order from left to right. So the next problem I need to do is 4 times 9. You know what? Why don't you just finish off things? See what you can do your order of operations, and finish this thing off. Let's see, 4 times 9 gives me 36. 36 divided by 4, and we're going to end with 9. There we go. Okay, one more problem. Let's take a look at x, y, over x plus z. If I tell you that x equals 2, and y equals 7, and z equals 5. Okay, and my first question for you is, what sort of problem is xz? Oh, sorry, not xz, xy. Hopefully you said that xy was a multiplication problem. I'm going to fill things in, and I'm going to say 2 times 7 divided by 2 plus 5. And you know what? I think you can go deal with your order of operations and see what happens with this problem. See if you can finish it. Okay, so I'm going to go do the multiplication up top. 2 times 7 is 14. On the bottom, 2 plus 5, that gives me 7. 14 divided by 7, that gives me 2. And that's going to be my final answer.